So nothing literally makes me more happy than when I come through and then I share some cool stuff that I've been working on right here on the channel. And last week I shared a track that I made using some log drum. I kind of mixed up some log drum in my Afro House track, which you can download for free, by the way, which are down below. You should definitely grab those bass lines. But last week what I also did was I made a new beat that I made, and it sounds super amazing, and I haven't listened to it ever since last week, and I want to go back into the studio right now and listen to it. And I also want to hear if it's still sounding as dope as how I made it and how I listened to it last week, just to see if it still sounds the same. Hopefully it still sounds as a banger as much as it did that time. Let me know if you also kind of have that phenomenon where you make something and then you listen to it a few days after and then you're like, nah, that doesn't sound good at all, bro. It happens to me sometimes, so let's go check it out. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to open up Logic and just to see how this beat sounds, like I said, just outside. And I'm super interested to see how this beat is going to be sounding right now, because last I checked out on this beat, it sounded amazing to me. So let me just hear if it still sounds the same. So you can see that I actually worked on it for like 1 minute, and it's like a super simple arrangement, you know, because I like to make my beats like this so they look like this, because I find that it's super easier when I can just make my track while also anticipating exactly how I'm gonna arrange the beat, so that it kind of makes sense to me, like as I'm making the track, so I can kind of have an idea of where it's trying to go as I make it. But anyway, enough jibber jabber. Let me play the beat and let's hear how it sounds, right? Okay, where's my volume? I really love what I did with the kick right there, right? So the kick just changed to like a 3-step kick around, you know, the breakdown part. It's gonna stop right there and then it's gonna get back to here. There we go. Then it goes back. Holy shit, this beat sounds amazing, bro. This beat sounds super crazy. And I think we really need to come up with a term of that phenomenon that I was explaining earlier. Like when you make something and then, you know, you listen to it later on and then you kind of have this feeling of, yo, this sounds totally different later on. Like, I don't know what that phenomenon, what that feeling is, but it just happens all the time. Like you make something yesterday or even like a few hours ago and then you listen to it again. For me, I always felt like it was maybe you losing interest in the, you know, in the thing or the beat or something like that. And then when you listen to it again, your interest is down here instead of high up here. Like the interest is super different. So I don't know what that phenomenon is. If you know what that's called, let me know down below. But that's something that I'm always afraid of when I make music, because I remember that, yo, I made something that's super dope, something that is super nice, but then now I'm afraid to get back to it because I'm like, yeah, what if I don't like it? What if I made something that actually sucks and something that doesn't sound good? And then I'm like, going back to it is super scary and I get super nervous. What if it was horrible and then I wasted all that time making something that doesn't make any sense? When it comes to naming this track, I decided to call it Tamba, which is dance in Shona. I suck at naming my music and most of my beats, although I kind of know the kind of feeling that I'm trying to evoke in my music most of the time. So my wife actually helped me out with some titles for a lot of the songs that I was gonna make. So she suggested a lot of these titles that, you know, I could just throw in there in some of the songs that I was gonna be working on. So I've used all these titles on this board here. I've used this one, Hosho, and I've used Shinga, and I've used Tamba now for this track. And the next one is gonna be Mbizi, which means zebra. And BZ is very special to me because that's my totem. Like, you know, my African totem is BZ, a zebra. So that's why this one is special to me, because that's my totem. So it holds a special place in my heart. So I'm definitely going to make a special song for this last one right here. So I can't wait to see what kind of track I'm going to come up with for that one. So I'm really happy with it. I think I should have just trusted my instincts in knowing that the beat wasn't as bad as I thought it was, and it was as good as I remembered, because sometimes your memory can actually lie to you. And you know, you might think that the beat was super amazing and was like this amazing track, but then it wasn't. But sometimes it was amazing because it actually was amazing. So something like that happens, and sometimes it's just a matter of mood. So if you get back to your beat or you get back to your track in a different mood than the one you were in when you made the track, when you were like in a super creative and high, you know, super high and energetic and creative, you know, juices flowing everywhere kind of mood, it's going to be difficult for you to still enjoy the same beat when you get back to it, but then the mood is different. I think that's something that adds to, you know, that phenomenon that I was talking about, where we get back to our music and then it sounds totally different. So if you ever struggle to find names, like, try get help on how you can name your songs, and also try make your music connect with who you are, with your identity. That's why I'm super drawn to African music, and that's why I'm really super drawn to Afro House. My last album was Afro House, like all Afro House, and I feel like my next project is definitely going to be Afro House, and I want to really express myself and my identity through all those songs and my music, so that people can actually know who I am through my music, because we are making art, right? And art is supposed to represent who you really are and who you are, so that even if when I'm no longer here, when people listen to my music, they can kind of have an idea of the person who I was. You know, someone who likes to make people happy, someone who likes to, you know, make people dance, because I also like to make people dance because of DJing and just the music that I make and all that, and the feelings that you want to, you know, give to people. But depending with the time, you know, and the feelings that you're feeling at that point, you can express it in the music. So if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling happy, if you're feeling just, you know, gray, then, you know, express that in the music, so that you can listen back to that music and then memories can immediately come to your mind and be like, oh, I remember when I made that song, I was feeling like this. I'm sure some of you guys can actually relate to that. When you listen to a certain song you made, and then it triggers memories where you're like, yo, I remember that day, you know, I was feeling the certain way. And that's what I just feel like when it comes to our music, when it comes to our art, that's how we express ourselves. So you're not just making just empty music where there's nothing in there. You're not giving it life. You're not giving it anything. You're just making music for the sake of making it, for the sake of whatever. But if you add your own identity and your own touch to it, I feel like you connect better with your music. And then when you put it out there, it's something that actually tells more about you, more than you even imagine yourself. Make sure to like, subscribe, do all the nice things that people do here on YouTube. If you want to support the channel, there are links down below. And don't forget, you can get the free bass sounds that you can get down below. And I also have a lot of freebies in my store that you can download in the link down below. And I'll see you in my next video. I'm X and I'm out. Peace.